So welcome to part 2. If you're, no, let me start that again. Hi there, welcome to part 2 of things you need to talk about before getting married. My name is Yetunde, aka YBA. If you're just seeing me for the first time, this is your first time here, thank you so much for coming. Don't forget to subscribe. But while you're at it, I think you need to go back and watch part 1. I'm going to link part 1 up here, here or somewhere on the screen. I'm also going to leave a link to part 1 in the description box. You need to watch part 1. In part 1, I've already talked about like 4 or 5 points, more than actually, of things you need to talk about before you get married. So let's just continue because we've already started. Let's get into part 2 right away. So another thing you need to talk about before you get married is deal breakers. See, most people don't talk about deal breakers. Then you marry and then something happens and this other person is like, that's it, I can't take it, I'm leaving. The other one is like, but you promised it's for better for worse. She's like, no, not this type of for better for worse. Or no, I'm not for bettering or for worsening on this one. What are your deal breakers? In a lot of relationships, when you're dating, when someone does something for you and is a no for you, you just exit the relationship. Bam. The problem with marriage is you can't just exit. I mean, you could physically leave. Do you know how long it takes to get a divorce? In Nigeria, it takes at times 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. It takes a minimum of 3 years. What are your deal breakers? What is the thing that your partner will do to you that will make you leave? If you marry a woman who cheating is a deal breaker for, she will leave you. Like this. Things like assault. All these people that beat their wives. I know people who are in relationships, small things, somebody has slapped someone. You know that there are people that will leave you if you get married and they find out that you are the one with the fertility issue. Once they realize that biologically they can have a child, yes, it's a deal breaker for them. They are out the minute they find out. So you have to talk about these things. What are your deal breakers? What are the things that if you do, there's no going back from it? When someone knows your deal breakers, there's a very high tendency that they would not want to go near anything that will make them do that kind of thing. Although some people, they will now do it and hide it. But I am a firm believer in things always unraveling. See, one way or the other, the truth will always come out. So if they've done something, you will find out, don't worry. This is how you sit down to fall on your lap. But I digress. What am I saying? You need to talk about things that are deal breakers for you. What if you're someone who is very averse to politics? If you go near drugs, I'm leaving you. If you change religions, I'm leaving you. If you can no longer provide for me, I'm gone. Yes, there are people like that. The people that marry because of, economic and financial situation, if it's no longer available, they are gone. Because they married you for the money. Now all of a sudden, you are not having any money. So bye. You'll not be crying up and down the internet because guess what? You already knew what you were getting yourself into. So talk about your deal breakers. This is something that likes to kill marriages, and that is secrets. Dirty laundry, secrets, you have to talk about it. See, if you have done bad things in your past life, some of us, I know it's one life, but at times you feel like you've lived like 10 lives inside this life. Some of your past lives are filled with things, mistakes, secrets, dirty laundry, things that your partner needs to know. If when you were in school, for instance, you used to sell drugs, used to, do certain things to make ends meet, and now you have left that profession. You want to marry this person and you didn't tell them, they don't know. Then 2 years down the line to the marriage, you find out that they're best friends with someone who knows you from school. And then you start saying, please, don't tell him. Please. See, tell the person, you've had a pregnancy that you terminated when you were younger or something. You have to tell your partner. Like, you need to tell them. Things can go from bad to worse. Why? Because you lied. You didn't tell the truth. Some men, they know they cannot have kids. They will not tell their wives. They will marry the poor girl. The girl will be there thinking something is wrong with her. Then later in the marriage, the woman will find out that the man is sterile, and she didn't know before. Some people hide medical conditions. Some people, their family have medical history that you need to tell your partner. Somebody that will see you at your lowest, because that's your partner. They will see you at your lowest, most unattractive state, and that's marriage. What are you hiding? What are you covering? Because you're just making life difficult for them and for you. At times they might not mind. I'm not gonna lie, some secrets are so big that the other person will run, but it's better they know. Let it be their decision to stay, so that if tomorrow or in 2 years time or 3 years time something comes up or something happens, you don't start feeling the other person, you don't leave the other person feeling like they were tricked into the union. Cheating is a very bad feeling, like you feel like it's like someone took something from you. They took your consent, your power, your ability to choose from you, and they tricked you into a union. Nobody wants to feel like that. So talk about your dirty secrets or your dirty laundry, and then let your partner know before you get married. Other thing I want to talk about are things that revolve around, how your marriage is going to be. Things like religion, parenting, and I'm putting these two together because when you have children, how you parent them determines a whole lot how they're going to turn out. You're also the one who introduces them to the first religion. What they see you doing, practicing or not practicing, is their first introduction to how they see themselves, how they see the universe, how they see God, religion, and the works. So you need to talk about it. You need to talk about your parenting styles. What do you plan to do with your kids? So for your religious beliefs, and want them to practice really, and how you plan on teaching them, have your agreements in place. You already know this is how we want to play this. This is what we are going to say. This is the united front we have on this issue. Even if all these people come, your family, your friends, society, the church, because at times even your religious leaders, they will put their mouth in your marriage. Why are you? We need to talk to you, sister, this person, and brother, this person. You already know what you want. You've pre-discussed it. You're not caught unawares. Your partner will just say, "Oh no, pastor, this is what we decided to do. This is what we're going to do," and you're looking at saying, "When did we agree that?" So you need to talk about all these things. What I want to talk about is the sexy. You need to talk about your sexual orientation. Now, the world has changed since the times of our fathers, our mothers, our grandparents, and now, honestly, everything is somewhat overly sexualized. The clothes we wear, music we listen to, the books we read, honestly, the media, the digital media, because everything is digital now. One way or the other, there is so much sexualization going on, and I'm one of the people who believe that all these things have been around since time immemorial. There's nothing new under the sun. The difference is we are now a generation of sharers. We share. So there's Twitter for us to share with, there's Instagram, there's Snapchat, there's Clubhouse, there's Facebook, there's you name it, so many social media platforms. I mean, there's YouTube. I'm here, I'm talking, I'm sharing. That's what we do. We share. Now, because we have democratized this sharing thing, media, anybody really can be a source of information. You literally can go on Wikipedia and edit something. So that has made a lot of things to be in our faces. The downside for me is that it has given people a lot of unrealistic expectations, or especially in relationships and in marriage. People now have seriously unrealistic expectations of how people should look. Everybody is looking for six-pack, big guy, this one, that one, because that's what all the movie stars, the celebrities, and all these people look like. And so you're expecting your husband or your partner to constantly look like that. On the part of the women, it's even worse. Some people don't even know what a real body looks like. So someone has a baby, pam, they snap back 24 hours later, 1 week later, 2 weeks later, you can't even tell that they had a baby, and then your wife has a baby and she's like me, she's in my category. 1 year later, snap has not back anything, back did not snap, everything is just there. And you're upset because why can't you be like, this person? In real life, what you see in 50 Shades of Grey and all of this, that's not most people's reality. In actual real life, not a lot of people are hypersexual like that. I mean, who doesn't like to do do the sexy and enjoy it? It's a very enjoyable act. As a matter of fact, God really, really planned that thing. So enjoyable. Yeah, you want to marry someone, expect them to be available for you sexually 24/7. They might not even want it 24/7. People change. Would you like to introduce certain things to your bedroom? Like some people putting their bodies through all sorts of stress because they're trying to fulfill someone else's sexual fantasies. Drink this is gonna do this. What is it? Are you a stallion? What do you want to? Are you a stud? Are you a horse? Why do you want to kill yourself because of somebody's daughter? Spicing things up will actually go a long way. You try new things out, you do, but both of you have to want to do it. The problem usually lies in when it's just one person who wants to do those things and the other person doesn't wanna. So you need to talk about these things. Do you mind us introducing toys? Do you mind us? In this Lagos, some people have open relationships. There are swinging clubs in Lagos. This is not to say you must do them, but if you marry someone who wants to do them and you don't want to, problem. So many things when it comes to sexuality, you need to talk about it. Yeah, and just talk about it. You need to talk about crisis management. How are you going to manage crisis? Lovebirds, crisis will come. And this is not to scare anyone. There's so many ways crisis could come in your marriage. It could come from infidelity, money issues. Maybe you guys are going through a rough financial period, from in-laws, from friends, reality checks when it comes to what the other person wants, expectations and stuff like that. So you're going to have issues. Some more than some people, depending on the people in the relationship and how you guys are running things. But you have to talk about what to do when you go into crisis mode. It's not the crisis that will effectively break the relationship. It is how you handle the crisis that is going to break that relationship, that marriage. So you need to talk about things like who is going to be like our point person. Some couples go to therapy very frequently. When they have issues and they reach a deadlock, you go to therapy to go and talk it out. Some people will never ever go to therapy. Some people watch a blue therapy. Paul, Paul. Some people are like Paul. You take them to therapy, nothing is going to change. Like they're even in the therapy to cause more trouble. They want to fight. Shebi, you want to bring me to therapy? Let's go there. Even the therapist will be wondering what kind of clients are these. Crisis comes in many forms. It's not just fighting with each other. You could have crisis, things like a sickness, health problems, financial problems. If we run into financial crisis, what are we going to do? What if one of you becomes incapacitated? What if one of you dies? Yes, people can used to die. My dad died 20-something years ago. What happens to the kids? What happens to your business? What happens to your money, what you have? How do you want it to be taken care of? Those are things you need to talk about. Which brings me to the last two things that I want to talk about. First is, how do you get your difficult partner, your partner that doesn't really want to talk about these things, all of these issues I've mentioned, how do you get them to talk about it? See, you become a storyteller. That's my number one. When you see something, a scenario that you'd like to discuss happen, whether in the blogs or somewhere, send it to them. You guys should discuss it. Babe, see this. What do you think? And let me tell you, people usually are even more truthful when they are not talking about themselves. Because, they say, don't mind that man is a foolish man. Can never be me. He agreed for that. God forbid. I say, yes, he's right. Yes, it's the man's job to. She must agree for him. That's how you know that, oh, okay, so is this guy in effect saying if this was me, this is what he's going to do? You have your answer already. Look, I'm not trying to teach anyone to lie, but if you have to make up the scenario, the story, make it up. Say, guy, I heard this thing that this guy did this guy did this, that girl did this. What do you think? Let them talk. And in telling you what they think about someone else's situation, you have a glimpse into what can or might happen with you guys. And so that's a good way to get the conversation going and get all of these things, like talk about everything, so that you know where you stand or where your partner stands before you get into a long-term relationship with them. Aside talking about all of these issues that I have learned in my decade of being married, is the need for two things. You need to do constant check-ins, and you need to be flexible. People change. I am not the same person I was a decade ago. Definitely not. And I can assure you that in another decade, I probably still won't be the same person. I mean, there are parts of me that would never change because, you know, there's your, who you are at your core. But life changes you. Situations changes you. Death, grief, money, lack of hurt, so many things can change a human being. And disappointment, you know, career changes, good, the bad, lots of things can change who you are in the moment. And so you need to do constant check-ins with your partner. It depends on what works for you. In your relationship, you can start with maybe every month. If later you guys have found a beautiful rhythm, you don't really need every month. It could be like twice or 3 times a year, depending on what works for you. You need to tally up your cards every time together to be sure that you are still on the same page. Which brings me to the last part, where I say you have to learn to be fluid. There are times where some things will happen to you, and you can't be rigid in marriage, because so many things, there's no amount of planning you can plan. Life will show you its own plans, and in those moments you now have to, reevaluate, reassess the situation, and then make new decisions. Things will happen to you in life where you will need that fluidity. So don't just stand in one corner. I have told her that I am not going to do this when we marry, and that's did I not tell you? Did we not agree? Well, life has happened now. Let's make a new agreement. This is not going to happen for everything you've agreed upon, but I can assure you that it will happen to you in one way or the other. There will be moments where you have to change what you did. You both of you agreed on what you decided. For instance, if you agreed that you don't want family to live with you. What if some member of the family, maybe the mom, one of you, your moms or your dad, becomes critically ill, and you guys are the closest people to healthcare? Guess who is going to get a house guest? That is family. You have to be flexible. You can't be rigid. One of the things you have to understand about being married is that you have to always leave room, space for your partner. You can't take up all the space. And same thing goes for the other partner. Both of you have to always leave room for your partner. There has to be room, room for them to change, room for them to maneuver. Both of you are going to change. You're going to change physically, you're going to change emotionally, mentally. You're going to grow, okay? So you have to make sure you're doing it together. The people who grew apart in their marriages, what broke their marriage is growing apart, because somebody was growing this way and the other person was growing this way, and there was no synchronization of their growth. And because they were not checking in with each other, of course, they grew into different people who woke up one day and discovered that they no longer know who they are. So marriage is hard work. And while I'm happy for you that you want to do it, and I'm excited for you, make sure you have all of these important conversations before you get in there. So don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell on my videos for more content like this. See you in the comment section and see you next week. Bye.